Giant robot battles have successfully settled into turn-based tactics with a unique perspective on the battles in each. For example, BattleTech brought on the screens a complex war game with a long history, and Into the Breach turned the battles into a kind of chess. A small Spanish studio, Meteorbyte, also decided to contribute to the genre, clearly inspired by Into the Breach, and created roguelike in Time Steel. Will you want to stay in it for a long time? Ignited Steel is a simple throw-goat starting with story. Whereas, for example, in BattleTech the player found himself in a giant elaborate universe, and Into the Breach of front mission you light the battles with story inserts. In Ignite Steel, the narrative is encoded twice, at the beginning of the tutorial and at the end of the game. Events take place seemingly across the galaxy, after a certain Humanixy corporation, which manufactures unnamed combat robots, turns its creation against humans to fight the evil Humanixy. The heroic Lieutenant Surai is ordered to blow the dust of century-old Mech that the corporation can control. On the one hand, Ignite Steel is a roguelike, so it's hard to claim it for its lack of plot. On the other hand, in recent years in this game have to come out too many games that somehow experimented with the narrative. The gameplay Ignited Steel consists of two parts: tactical battles and exploring the galactic map. There are only 4 types of combat missions. Some require you to destroy all enemies, others require you to get an escape point, and the remainder require you to break or defend 3 generators. Few places have more types of missions, and in the same Slay the Spire you have to kill monsters all the time. But Ignite still suffer from a widespread simplicity that makes all missions look alike. First of all, the player has very few options in combat. His squad consists of 3 mech, each of which can shoot, move and cool down. No overwatch with shelters or fields of visions. And cooling is almost never necessary because an overheated mech becomes a priority target for enemies and serves as excellent bait. Secondly, the game makes sure that your squad is always stronger than the enemy. Each mech can be customizable, you can choose the main and auxiliary weapons, as well as the core, which is responsible for amount of health and mobility. Each piece of equipment has a power level. There are 3 levels, but some weapons are already more effective than the rest of the arsenal. For example, the sniper rifle of Railgun then can destroy almost any enemy with one shot. And now let's take a look at the enemy's mech. Advanced and named robots that resist the player's tins. Their attacks are always several times weaker, their health is lower, and overheating activities powerful negative effects like explosion that hurts everyone standing nearby. The same goes for the bosses, which differs from the rest of the enemies only in design and number of health points. Furthermore, there are 3 of them in total in the game, and only the last, most difficult one can attack the player each turn. The other is occasionally jostle and inflicts very little damage, or prepare to hit the square on the next turn. And your squad always has time to get out of the line of fire. Opponents can't resist the players at all, and you're unlikely to lose even once and lose all your mechs. Most of the missions are inferior in difficulty to first mission in any modern tactic from Into the Breach to come XCOM 2. It absolutely does not matter what modifier the battlefield improves or how many enemies you have against you. To balance the situation would be to limit the number of turns, but they are given even too many, considering that is one move how you can get rid of half of the enemies on the map. Because of this simplicity, Ignited Steel is passed very quickly, which makes the second big problem of the game noticeable. The galactic map in Ignited Steel is most reminiscent of Dangerous from Slay the Spire, moving deeper, cuts all of points behind, and they are divided into three types. On planets you have to fight, on space station you have to buy weapons and contracts, sell junk and repair mechs, and on asteroids you have to perform random events. Each of these activities demonstrates the main disease of Ignited Steel as a roguelike, the criminally small amount of content. There seems to be plenty of puzzle types, but as I said, the player have very few options in combat. Therefore, every battle turns into a dull representation of actions. Moreover, sometimes the battle maps are repetitive. In such cases, you just have to duplicate your moves from the previous missions to win. Everything seems to be fine with the story stations. There are weapons and one-time tasks in the vein of kill 2 enemies in the first turn in the next battle, and the opportunity to heal. But there are very few weapons in the game. I took it 3 times and by second run tried the entire arsenal, and there are usually no points in buying guns, because all the best fall out for winning battles, and contracts are useful at all. They usually give you modifiers like a damage bonus, but because of the simplicity of Ignited Steel, they are not needed. The third type of points on the map is a random mission on the asteroids. In 3 playgrounds, I never got a negative outcome in any of them. Again, because of the simplicity and lack of any kind of balance, all the bonuses in the vein of plus 10% damage are superfluous. And remember Slay the Spire, the randomness is not always helpful to the player. Plus, each event could get several types of bonuses or penalties. In Ignited Steel, the player has only 2 conditional options: either choose another enhancement or refuse to reward at all. The uselessness of the alternatives and their small number wouldn't have been questionable in early access, but Ignited Steel went into release, and a couple dozen guns, 3 bosses, 2 combat actions, and useless power-ups are clearly not enough for a good tactical game. So Ignited Steel Mech Tactic is a good option for those who found Into the Breach too difficult, but still want to play minimalist mech tactics. It's hard to recommend it to anyone, as it's not potent monotonous RPG with a noticeable lack of content. Thank you.